Thanks, Riaz. At 6:30, good morning. We begin with a big traffic headache for commuters traveling through Coquitlam this morning. An overnight problem with the Evergreen line has shut down a major intersection. Greg Harper is live in Coquitlam with the very latest. Greg.
Good morning, Jody. Como Lake at Clark, just behind me here, remains closed. This is a major route for many in the area to get to Highway 1, but that's not the case this morning, and this is why. As you could see behind me, this is part of the Evergreen Line guideway, which has shifted, and part of it resting on a very large concrete pillar. And you can see some construction workers there investigating, trying to figure out what happened here. According to Coquitlam RCMP, they were called to the scene around 1:30 after a loud bang was heard. Immediately, the decision was made to shut down the intersection. For a while, Clark Road was shut down. They have since reopened that, but Como Lake at Clark remains closed as the investigation continues.
Part of the Evergreen construction line that is in that being constructed at that location. Some of the cement pieces of the overhead, the horizontal pieces that go across the Clark Road and Como Lake had shifted on the pillars. These are large pieces of concrete and were obviously posed a great danger.
Now, according to the Evergreen Line construction manager, the guideway is stable. That's why they decided to open up Clark Road, but they're not ready to open up Como Lake at Clark. How long is this intersection going to be closed? That's a good question. This investigation could take some time on to determining how this happened, how to fix it. We're being told right now this intersection could be closed for most of the day. Jody?
All right, thanks very much. Greg Harper reporting live for us this morning from Coquitlam. A disturbing story now. A local bus driver is recovering after what transit police are calling a vicious, unprovoked attack. 6 young people boarded without paying Tuesday at Broadway and Fraser. They were allegedly loud and openly drinking, so the driver pulled over at Oak Street to kick them off. 3 young men agreed, but 3 young women allegedly attacked the driver, pulling her to the ground by her hair and punching her. 2 sisters, aged 20 and 22, were arrested along with a 17-year-old girl. They are all very well known to police.
We don't believe that any of our frontline workers should have to go to work and be afraid that they're going to be assaulted or threatened or harassed, or that someone's going to spit on them or swear at them, which are the kinds of things that are happening all too often.
The driver suffered bruises, cuts, and scratches and had clumps of hair pulled out. Her glasses were also smashed. There may be an end in sight this morning to the labor dispute that's been crippling Metro Vancouver's ports. The federal and provincial governments have hammered out a plan which they say will address compensation, terminal wait times, and will create an industry oversight committee. Union representatives are reviewing the plan, which was released online last night, and haven't commented just yet. Earlier this week, unionized truckers parked their rigs and joined non-union truckers who walked off the job last month. Fraser Health is ramping up vaccination efforts in the Valley today with measles spreading. The health authority says measles cases have spread outside the school and religious community they were initially contained to. The focus remains the Fraser East region in Chilliwack and Agassiz. So far, only 1 9-year-old girl has required hospitalization. Children under the age of 5 are at the greatest risk of possible long-term health effects and even death.
Around about a quarter of the parents in Canada now are deciding not to vaccinate their children because they've forgotten how serious measles is, and they've heard a whole lot of information about potential autism, or that Oprah Winfrey doesn't think it's a good idea, or something similar.
Fraser Health is holding special vaccination clinics starting next week. More information on those and measles in general can be found at fraserhealth.ca. International news now. The crisis in Ukraine will be discussed in London today in a meeting between U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and Russia's foreign minister. Kerry suggests the West is ready to impose harsh sanctions against Russia for sending thousands of its soldiers into Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula. On Sunday, Crimea will hold a referendum on whether to break away from Ukraine and join Russia. It's a vote that many countries deem to be illegitimate. Meanwhile, tensions between pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russian groups in eastern Ukraine have left at least 1 person dead and several others injured. China is urging Malaysia's government to release any information it has about a missing passenger jet in an effort to narrow the search area. There's growing frustration among Chinese officials over conflicting information that's being released about the plane. CBS News reports 2 communication systems on the plane shut down sequentially, suggesting to investigators that they were intentionally turned off. The airliner disappeared nearly a week ago with 239 people on board.